This month, we fly into skies unknown with Ace Combat 7.
You examine the love between a girl and a wolf in Neva.
I get to the end of Cyberpunk, sometimes with some enjoyment along the way.
And lots of other stuff, but you have to wait and see what we're going to talk about in the next hour and a half of joy.
Ooh, a teaser. Hi folks, and welcome to March's Aches and Games, a relaxed check-in between two slightly older British friends talking life, gaming, and whatever else comes to mind. Remember, there are timestamps in the description if you want to move around within the episode, straight to the games or any other section. And between episodes, why not get in touch with us on socials, our Facebook page, or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson, at Giles Went West on various things. Joining me as always is my good friend James Hapes. James, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you, Giles. I'm James Boy 1978 on PlayStation Network and James Boy 78 2932 on Xbox, I believe. But no one ever asked me, so it doesn't really matter. Just add whoever you want to. It might be me. Who knows? That's the excitement of online life. We mess around on the Facebook page and on wherever the other thing is called, TikTok, which is quite popular, and other places. So yeah, do reach out because it's all more fun if you contact us and talk about stuff. That's the idea of the podcast, wasn't it? We set up so we can have a little chat about things and engage with people and all that jazz. So please do engage. Thank you. Nice to see you, Giles. Looking wonderful as always.
Thank you very much. And I've just realised that you could be saying any four numbers after that game of Tank. You might change it every episode. I think I'll need to go back and check just in case you've been testing me because I haven't paid any attention. But we are friends on that platform as well as in real life and all that. Speaking of friends, we've got a couple of shout outs, haven't we, for this episode? I can see.
Only very briefly, just going to shout out a couple of people from work. Obviously, I can't talk about work, but two people at work called Neil, who works closely-ish with me. Neil has been a gamer for a long time. We always chat about games. He knows I does a podcast. He knows I does. Is that English? What language is that? My word. He knows I take part in a podcast. Is it do? A podcast? You do a
podcast. Record a podcast. Starring. Podcast.
Yeah. Good. He knows I does that. So we always talk about games and what I've been playing. And I found out at the work Christmas do, which is a couple of months ago now, as you can predict, it's now March, obviously, that he used to play Battlefield a lot when he was younger. Probably Battlefield 1 when it came out. That wasn't the first one, was it? Battlefield 1?
Naming's ridiculous. Battlefield 1, I think, is maybe even the fifth one.
Cool. So one of the Battlefields in the early days, he was quite good at it, and he was like number one in the world for close range kills or something bizarre.
Wow.
So he was quite a big name back in the day when he used to have spare time. So shout out to Neil if you're listening, which I don't think you are, so I'm just shouting into space. Like there's people on Facebook who wish their child a happy birthday when they're like 4, and obviously the child's not on Facebook. I say happy birthday, Fantasia, and I'm like, who knows, can I read that? Nobody's going to read it in 12 years' time when they get on Facebook. Anyway, the other person is Yashil, or Yash, who also works with me, kind of, and he also plays lots of games, and he knows I have the podcast. He might listen, who knows? And we always talk about games, so whenever I walk past in the corridor, he always asks me what I've been playing. So, good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for coming, if you've come.
Excellent.
If you haven't come, hi.
If you haven't come yet. No, that's the wrong thing.
Holding it show.
Lowering the tone. If you have, please let us know. No, don't let us know. That would be quite disturbing. Oh. It's just nice to imagine listeners just listening rather than doing anything else. Right, getting in a bit of a hole here. What I was going to say, I mean, it made me very excited, but not that excited, was we had our highest viewed YouTube short ever this month, which was exciting. I don't know, should I say the number? It was over 1,000, which to us is a big number, especially on YouTube. It's taken a while to kind of tick up, but we're very grateful, and lots of those people watching actually watch for quite a lot of the episode, or the clip anyway. So we do appreciate that. It's not always the way. We've also got a few new subscribers on YouTube, so hi if you're new, and similarly a few new followers and I think subscribers as well on Spotify. So welcome if you're new. As always, we love you if you've been here since the start. We're not going to just get obsessed by new listeners or viewers. We love you all equally, and thank you for joining us. Right, James, what have you been up to this month?
Beautiful. I was up to picking up a drink and I'll put it back down again because you've cut to me when I looked. Wonderful. So we've done some things. One of the things we've done was go abroad in our car on the Channel Tunnel.
Nice.
Le Tunnel, as they say in West. So we went across to visit a friend who currently lives in Calais in a 5-bedroom house. It's quite pleasant. So we went over there. Never visited him before. You know him, Mr. Andy Bull, the driver from
Andy, the driver
from many years ago. So yeah, we stayed with him for a couple of nights, and he showed us the sights of Calais. It was nicer than I expected it to be. You never know what to expect from Calais, from the media reports and all that jazz. But it was quite pleasant. A lovely beach, very sandy. Had some very attractive groins down the beach. You know, the wooden pole thingies that go down beaches to stop the sea from doing things.
Did you say groins?
You've got groins, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
I'm taking your word for it, but
yeah.
It just took me back.
Josh was surprised when I mentioned groins as well.
Yeah.
He said, like my groin. I was like, no, not your groin. Your groin's not attractive, I assume. No, the wooden things that are stopped all the way down the beach to stop wind and rain and sand. Yeah, groins.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah, very attractive. And big beach and 2 dragons, 2 walking dragons that you can ride upon, which is interesting. Don't know what the dragon significance is with Calais, but there we go. And we also drive across in Andy's car, because he's a driver, we drove across to Bruges. And had a nice time in Bruges doing Bruges type things. So haven't been to Bruges for a few years. And obviously, as you know, Bruges is very famous for many things, including Belgian beer, chocolates and waffles. So literally every other shop is waffles and every other shop is chocolate. So if you like chocolate and waffles and beer, I recommend going to Bruges. So a lovely place, had a nice time. So that was our big trip of February during half term. You go for your one, Giles, and I'll come back.
Yeah, well, we didn't go quite as far, but we also had a half term escapade because it was. I have to edit that cop out, James. You got to reach for the mute button.
remember the last time I pressed mute, I couldn't get it back on afterwards, so I can't press mute.
That is true. Yeah, no, that's fair. And whenever I do it, I'm a bit worried that I'm going to knock it over or do something stupid. So good decision in the end. It was Anne, my middle sister. It was her birthday. It was her 50th. So it was her 50th. Wow. Actually, a bit more recently, but because she's got kids and we were all available, we went away at half term. Just got a house down by the south coast, by the beach. Weather just about held up, which was good. Just got the family together. Beth came over from France, and we had a couple of fun days in and out and around the place that we rented out. So it was very nice. Spent a lot of time on the beach, wandering around, walking. We also just spent a lot of time eating and drinking and catching up, which was kind of what it's all about, isn't it? There was a hot tub, James.
Hey.
There was a hot tub. You obviously didn't find me or Hannah in it, but other people liked it as much as you. I know you and I have different views about hot tubs.
We do.
And it was similarly split in our group, but they seem to enjoy themselves. And on brand, so happy birthday, Anne. You're not listening, but again, following the same sort of theme as before. On brand, we did play quite a few games together. So although this isn't the right section, 221 Baker Street, 221B Baker Street, I think.
221B Baker Street, yeah. Great game.
We have played before, and I'm sure some listeners have played. It is really good fun, isn't it? Sort of, how would you describe it, James? It's kind of a bit Cluedo-esque. You're going around a sort of version of London on a board, solving stuff. There's
a number of different cases to solve, aren't there? And they all start with the game is afoot, don't they? From distant memory of 20-odd years ago. 30 years ago, maybe. Blimey, I'm old, crikey. Might be 40 years ago, Jesus. Anyway, a good game. You get a little case book and you move around and solve cases by doing things.
Nice.
Probably 40 years ago.
Or in our case, because Hannah and I were a team, we didn't solve cases. We did get back to Baker Street first, and we really didn't understand a couple of the clues. We weren't paying very good attention, and so we got back, solved it, got it completely wrong, got eliminated. But it was lots of fun, and we also played, which was I thought of note. We played Boggle Party and Pictionary Game Night on Netflix. Wow. Have you played anything on Netflix?
Never. I've watched things on Netflix, but never played a game.
Indeed. Well, I sort of noticed the game section and paid no attention to it, but I would recommend it, listeners. If you do have a subscription, if you've got a bunch of you around, you can use your phones as controllers for those sorts of party games, Boggle Party, Pictionary, and there was a fairly naff one based on Knives Out, where I think up to 8 players. So those were the ones we played because we could play as a group. Whereas there's also some really good 1 to 2 to 4 player stuff, including I think a version of Tetris and all kinds of cool things. And you just connect your phone, play on the big screen. It works really well. Both Vulnerable Hearty and Pictionary. Really highly recommended. I know I'm not in the right section.
So you draw on your phone, do you, the picture for Pictionary? Or?
Yes, which makes it kind of even more amusing because
just with your finger.
You're going to be terrible. Oh, yes. Yeah, but fairly basic. I can't remember any of the examples that would illustrate this. I think I had Propeller as one of mine. So you can imagine trying to sketch out an old-fashioned plane or something with a finger is quite tough. But it got guests, so it was good fun. So anyway, really nice little trip for Anne's birthday, and also on brand for some new gaming fun.
Weirdly, we've got Pictionary Air 2 different types. You've got like an air pen, and you draw in the air with this air pen, and it comes up on the screen. Never taken out of the box, obviously, because it was one of Josh's Christmas presents from probably 3 or 4 years ago. It's never come out of the box. But I'm sure it's great. So maybe we'll play that at a party one day. Next time we have a Christmas party, we'll whip out the Pictionary pen and give it a go.
Don't whip out the grind. Excellent. Yeah, sounds good.
Grind free. 221 Big Bag Street used to love. Can't remember if I mentioned it in the last podcast, but we at Christmas we whipped out Mysteries of Old Peking, which is around the same era, and is also a crime-solving mystery game, but much more simplified. There's no difficult clues in it, and yet I still managed to completely balls it up somehow. So I was the first one to get to the dragon to unveil the murderer with my reasoning, and it was completely wrong. And then the next 2 people also got it completely wrong and picked the same murderer, bizarrely. So in the end, my mum won that game, even though she was miles behind, but she was the only one that hadn't thought they were too clever and guessed it incorrectly. Anyway, old games, great fun. We should have a games night one day.
We should.
Yeah, good.
We should talk about them on a podcast.
Yeah, why not?
What else have you been up to, James? You got a long list, huh?
We did other things. We did a thingy. Only just did the thingy because we were nearly too late to get into the thingy. But the thingy was candlelight concert. We did a candlelight concert, and it was very strict on the ticket that said that if you arrive a microsecond late, you won't be let in ever, and you'll be banished and banned from all future concerts. So we got stuck in traffic horrifically. Managed to get. It was at Reading University in the Great Hall. Great Hall's lovely at Reading Uni. It's very ornate building, covered in candles at the front, as you would assume by candlelight concert. And there was a concert. We assumed there's going to be a big orchestra, but it was actually a quartet. So it's a quartet of ladies playing quartet things to the theme of Ed Sheeran and Coldplay. So every other song was Ed Sheeran, every other song was Coldplay, but in a quartet, obviously non-vocal format. It was really, really good. Lasted about an hour and a half, which is quite a nice limit. There was a little interval in the middle, so you could sit and take photos. And for the last song, you were allowed to sing along and also take photos. But at the end, the only disappointment was right at the end, we went to the front on the way out to look at the candles, and they weren't even real candles. They're pretend candles with a little flame that flickered backwards and forwards on a little motor. It looked good, but yeah, that was the only downside. But it's really good. I recommend if anyone wants to go to a candlelight concert, there's loads around the country, all different artists and bands and stuff. So yeah, really good. Bit of classical music, good fun.
Yeah, we went to one a while ago, which was film music. It was Hans Zimmer. And we really appreciated the candles not being real because Hannah has a bit of a thing about naked flames. So that was going to be one of the potential downsides of the show. So it was quite nice to know that we weren't at severe risk of being burnt down. But yeah, I would also add my recommendation. And Ed Sheeran and Coldplay music sounds good and in a classical style by the sounds of it, which is I like that.
Have you seen Bridgerton?
No.
Bridgerton's great. I saw everyone else listening has watched it apart from you. But in Bridgerton, when they go to the balls, they play modern music in a classical style to make it seem like it's old, but with modern tunes. This is identical. It put you in the mood with Bridgerton. So kind of ruined on you because you've not watched Bridgerton. So go and watch Bridgerton and then you rewind it and rewind it. Blimey, you'd love it.
Before I return it to the video store. I can kind of get the idea. I think I'm familiar with Bridgerton's game, even if not the detail. I have watched some things though this month, which I'm sure we'll get to. Before that, well, one of the things we did, I suppose it's watching, because we went to a thing called Moonwalkers, which is a immersive show, video type thing, narrated by Tom Hanks, which was near King's Cross in a sort of I think, a custom made unit, a sort of huge sort of exhibition space type building, so very high ceilings, projections onto 3 walls and a bit onto the floor. So it's immersive in the sense that you're surrounded by the picture, but it's not interactive or anything else. It's just a really big projection. The immersive aspect of it honestly was quite annoying because although there's like a rocket taking off and some sort of stuff set on the moon and things, they were good, gave you the extra scale that you might sort of want. A lot of the time there was quite a lot of information, say, about the astronauts and things, because it was covering all the Apollo landings, all the Apollo missions, and then covering the Artemis missions, which you may or may not know. Artemis 1 happened and was a trip to the moon, but it was unmanned. Artemis 2 was due to happen kind of now, or certainly the last few months. And it keeps getting delayed, so this show was done in anticipation of people going back to the moon because it was a manned mission. And Artemis 3, the idea was it was going to have people actually land on the moon for the first time since the 60s. So the thing itself, really good. The delay, a bit of a bummer in a sense, but to be honest, we hadn't really looked into it before we went, so it was more sort of looking it up and trying to fill in the gaps and wonder why they were talking about all these amazing things that were due to happen, which we hadn't heard had happened yet. Very inspiring, and what it was, especially in the current world climate, it was really nice to see America kind of remind yourself of some of the amazing things they put their minds to in the past, and maybe we'll do one day again. So that was good. And I'd recommend, if anyone has a chance, we stopped off at a place called Seven Dials Food Market, having watched Seven Dials on Netflix last month. There's a connection. It wasn't for any deliberate reason. It was just there was a shop there that Hannah wanted to look at for a while. And Seven Dials Food Market, James, we need to go. We need to arrange a group of people to go, because it was an amazing food hall of really cool, different foods. There's a few bars there. It had a really nice vibe, really nice atmosphere. They had a place called Pick and Cheese, which was like a sushi bar but with cheese and wine, which is kind of cool. Yeah. And Bad Boy Pizza Society, cool burgers, like nice sort of kind of upmarket tacos and stuff, and you obviously can go and get what you want and then go and sit on the communal tables. So
cool.
Looks great. We should go.
It's not all you can eat now.
It isn't all you could eat, but that probably means that you won't put it out of business. So, pros and cons. Anything else on your list for this one?
No, I was going to say we put another one out of business, didn't we? Brewdog went down after our eating wings there on 2 occasions. It's now gone completely sold off.
We did. We apologise to anyone who liked going to Brewdog pubs. I think their beers are continuing, aren't they? They've been bought out. But I need the beer.
Yeah. I was going to mention the interesting juxtaposition between the world burning and falling apart to spring coming. It's quite nice at the moment.
Yeah.
It's nice and sunny today, and the last couple of days have been all right, and there's flowers growing in the garden. Our little mini tree in the back garden's got all the blossom on, so that's quite cute as well. There's little bunnies frolicking around, no doubt, somewhere. Deers everywhere, squirrels and foxes, and it's quite pleasant outside. So, yeah, nice time of year. But I was going to say, I read on the internet today, I get annoyed on Facebook these days because our local newspaper, which is, I think it's online only these days, always tries to print clickbaity headlines to get you to click on it, because that's obviously the only way press people make money these days, by making you click from clickbait titles. But they're always awful at doing them. It's just riddled with spelling mistakes, completely illiterate, whoever writes in the Reading Live these days. Bizarre. So I regularly post them on Instagram for a bit of a laugh. But today, Berkshire Live, which is the parent company from Reading Live, I guess, told us we had to immediately purchase 10 items to prepare ourselves for the outcome of the war in Iran, because the petrol price is going to shoot up so high that 10 major products that we all use on a daily basis were going to become unaffordable. So we had to immediately stock up. One of them was candles, which links back to the candlelight concert. But unless you're going to do a candlelight concert, even they're not real candles, you don't really need many candles around the house. So I don't see myself rushing out to stock up on candles. You've either got the candles or you haven't got the candles. The other one, which I found interesting, was incontinence pads.
Okay.
So Berkshire Live would
Take me
suggest...
through this.
I'd rather not. So Berkshire Live would suggest we all needed to race out and buy up bulk incontinence pads, because the process of making incontinence pads involves petrochemicals.
Oh, okay. Maybe this says more about their remaining readership than it says about sort of a common need. But I thought they just meant that somehow, like the water system would shut down and you wouldn't be able to flush, and you'd just all have to sit around in pads for the rest of our lives. Yeah. But maybe they just know we're old. That's what it is.
Just gradually absorbing our bodily fluids on the sofa. But the reason I mention that is because even though I'm on Do Not Disturb mode, I keep getting notifications from Instagram telling me that people have reacted to my post, which recommended obviously using incontinence pads by candlelight, and me suggesting that at our age, you never know when you're going to need to use them by candlelight. So there we go. So that's what brought that back in my mind. Last thing for me was race night. We had a race night at Scouts, and I think I mentioned before that Joshua's Scout leader is quite old. One of them used to be a teacher, but probably maybe in the 50s or 40s. And her email communication isn't always great. They try to use some modern apps, but they don't always go that well. So we were invited to race night, which, when I sent the letter out, I showed it to a couple of people, but the heading was Race Night 2025. About start. You then had to pay by 23rd of February 2023. And then the actual date of the event was 2026. So we went last week, not knowing anything about it at all. It said it's going to be a race night with a difference. So we didn't know what kind of races, but there's a picture of a horse on the flyer, so we thought it must be horse racing. So maybe it's going to be one of those cool video things where they take images of past race and you have to guess who they are and all that jazz. But with Scouts, a bit young for betting, who knows? So we turned up, and it turned out 6 wooden horses connected to like school chairs with copper pipes and handles on either side, and you had to turn the handle to pull the piece of string to encourage the wooden horse towards you. So the winner was whoever pulled the horse quickest by tugging at the handles. And it was 10 races, and it was actually quite good fun. And we were bizarrely betting on children to win the races. So it's 50p a bet. You've got to win like 70p if your child won. So yeah, good fun. So turns out race night for Scouts, thoroughly recommended whenever it actually happens.
That's what they did for entertainment back in his day, so that all checks out. Excellent. I only had a couple of things to recommend or not that I've been watching. So I went to see Avatar when I had like 3.5 hours spare when Hannah went away for the night. It was spectacular. Just for context, I really enjoyed the first one, quite enjoyed the second one, although found it a little bit long. And this one is the third, Avatar Fire and Ash, I believe. Spectacular, a very good new baddie or baddies sort of faction. But basically it's a replay of the second one, just in a different colour. So the what was it? Way of the Water was the second one. So that was obviously very blue, as was lots of blues and purples in the series as a whole. Fire and Ash, as you might expect, had a lot more red in it. That's effectively my review. But what it did do was make me quite interested with the game, because I certainly through a number of sections of that, including like a 40-minute end sequence, which was a bit much, James Cameron, maybe dial it back a little bit. It made me think, I'd quite like to be playing this rather than watching this. And lo and behold, Avatar has just been added to Game Pass via Ubisoft Plus. So I might well check that out if I could bring myself to go back to Pandora anytime soon. So went to see Avatar. We also watched a couple of things to recommend. One Day. Did you read One Day, or have you watched it? Or
don't think so.
Well, really like the book. It's basically kind of checks in on this couple on the same day each year when they get together, sort of throughout their lives.
Okay.
Things go up and down throughout, and the book I really enjoyed. There's a film with Anne Hathaway, which I didn't watch because the reviews were dreadful, and then there was now a Netflix show with two famous people who I haven't written down.
Oh, them, yeah.
Should have prepped that, yeah. The guy from The Thing and the woman from That Thing with the Doctors.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. Anyway, it was decent. It was not they weren't as likeable as I remember, and I can't tell if that was the acting or the way it was presented, or if I just like those sort of people when I was younger and maybe don't anymore. They're a bit abrasive, if I'm honest. But the reason why I mention it, it's quite an emotional story in some places. And that and another thing we've been watching, Runaway by Harlan Coben on Netflix, both unfortunately have completely ruined Hannah. So for different reasons. One day, emotional, really destroyed her one episode. And I shouldn't be laughing. Runaway was quite violent. Was good. It was very hokey. Harlan Coben thriller, so you sort of know what you're going to get. But it's surprisingly grisly, and that was a bit too much. So next month we'll be watching kind of more chilled out, nice, pleasant things. So your talk of spring and everything else feels very on brand, James.
Good. I was going to say, I was trying to picture in my head the film we watched, but I couldn't remember anyone was in it, what the plot was, or what it was called. But then it suddenly come to me when I was intently listening to what you were saying, obviously. It was called I Give It a Year. I think it was called I Give It a Year. Yeah. There's some people in that, weren't there? Like Thingy, Barker, Blokey, the Australian man, and some other people. Who else is in it?
Welcome to a podcast by two old people. I have no idea. I'm just familiar with the film, and it's your bit, so you can remember. Am I supposed to look it up? I could look it up.
I wish you would. It's a really enjoyable film, and I like the cast. Oh, Thingy was in it from What's It? The tall bloke that used to be with Ricky Gervais in
Stephen
Merchant. He was in it.
Okay.
And there's a woman in it as well. What's she? Who's she called? Thingy.
She's called Rose Byrne.
Rose Byrne. I love Rose Byrne. Yeah, she was great in it as well. Byrne,
Anna Faris, Minnie Driver. Who's also in
they're all in it.
Olivia Colman.
Yes, all those people are in it. Great film. Yeah. So it's a really enjoyable film. We haven't seen it for years and years. We watched it a couple of weeks ago, and it's really good. So I'd recommend the thing I've just forgotten the name of again. What's it called? I'll give it a year.
I give it a year, or I give it 5 minutes until we forgot what we're talking about. But it sounds like
a great film. Very much recommended. Please go and see that with all those characters in it that Giles just mentioned. Good.
Excellent. Should we go on to games, James? We're
just ask, was Avatar the one with Kate Winslet in it that got the record for breathing underwater or not breathing underwater?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to say yes.
Was she in it?
Who's to say? Because if she was probably a sort of big 7 foot tall blue thing. But that does ring a bell. I mean, she's obviously been in watery things with James Cameron in the past. But I do remember that. I do remember that tale. I'm trying to remember because Sigourney Weaver is in it as a human in the first one. Sorry, I'm trying to look it up as we speak, which is why I'm leaning away from the microphone. Sorry, audio listeners. Blame James for getting me on my tablet. Yes, Kate Winslet was
good.
Character called Ronal. So she's one of the Pandorans. Navi, isn't it? The characters. There we go.
I was going to say, you'd think she was world record beating and holding her breath underwater. She might have just slowed over a bit on the aircraft door. Titanic door, dip underwater for a few minutes and let Leo have a little rest. But there we go. All in the past.
We've got to let it go. It was a long time ago.
You thought about games and stuff?
Shall we? Yeah, I'm looking at the clock ticking up. I was like, this one's going to be a short episode. Let's do it. And we're going to start, traditionally, although not last month, should we start with Love It or Leave It for the month? Yes. Which was Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, I believe.
You believe? Do you not remember it?
It was more than 5 minutes ago. I don't have any choice. Again, showing as Band-Aid Namco on the notes. I don't know if that came forward from last month. Do you remember the description, James? Shall I do the description and then you take us through your thoughts?
Go for it.
It's an arcade-style combat flight simulator following the story of Trigger, not the one from Only Fools and Horses, a pilot in the Penal Squadron, and then I won't read out the rest because it's a complete spoiler in Wikipedia, although we'll probably go on to spoil it because it's not really the sort of story. There is a story, but, we could spoil it. Anyway, you fly about a bit, arcadey style, good scores on Steam, good scores on Steam, good scores in most places. Yes. And why we're playing it in part was that it was available on PS Plus last month. So we tend to pick something from PS Plus, play it, and talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Good. I remember we had a good laugh about Penal Colony last month for no apparent reason. like children we are.
Still good. Now we're on to grind, so we haven't really grown up in the last one.
I'm still trying to discreetly cough without pressing the mute button, so
Yeah,
let me clear my throat for a bit. Love it.
I'll mark that for edit.
Good. So, you start off with bottom of the... well, it's weird, the intro, I found. There's lots of video intro about a lady who was taught to fly by a granddad who was in the Navy, the Air Force, to make more sense in a flight game. And in the end, she put scrap planes together to build a real plane and then flew around a bit. But as yet, I couldn't work out how that was quite linked to the game. But I think in the end, she crashed and ended up in some kind of penal colony, which is where the other person that's Trigger ends up in the penal colony. But there's a bit of a spoiler in that as to how he ends up in a penal colony.
Yeah, I was going to say, think of it A-Team and you're kind of there, aren't you? You know, potentially crimes that you may or may not have committed.
Yeah. So you start off with a bottom of the range aircraft that can do some basic bits. And there's a aircraft tree, so you can improve your aircraft, buy new aircraft as you get points from doing the missions, and add bits to it like sexy guns and better wings and speed things, all that kind of jazz to make it easier for you. And it's a campaign which consists of 20 different missions. There's a really big choice at the start of the game as to what difficulty settings you go for, because when you pick a difficulty setting, you can't change it mid-game. So if your ego is quite high and you go for normal difficulty, then you're probably going to regret it for the next 25 hours of your life. But if you pick easy, then you probably will regret it less. But I picked normal because I thought, I've got some skills. I've never flown a plane before in real life. I've never played Ace Combat before, but I'm bound to pick up quite easily because I'm really good games. But yeah, not so much. So the first missions are quite easy, and there's some checkpoints in it, and they're quite short. But as you get to mission 5, and then especially when you get to mission 6, they get really long and really hard on normal difficulty. So you fly around it, you hit targets, you get a little mission briefing at the start of it, you pick your plane, you pick your weapons, you go out. You've got a little squadron of people as the missions go by, and you're trying to achieve the objectives. But certainly the one I'm stuck on for a long time now is mission 6, which is called Long Day. And my God, the day was very long. And the day after, when I've been trying to complete this one blasted mission. Mission 5 took me a long time to finish, and the sense of relief at the end of finishing it was epic. And I thought mission 6 can't be as bad as this one, but it is as bad. It's just 50 times as long. And there's no checkpoint in the middle of mission 6. You just fly for 20 minutes. You've got to build up a point target, 17,000 points, by destroying buildings. But whenever you're getting close to it, some drones turn up and you get shot out of the sky and you start all over again. Literally the entire thing again. 20 minutes of activity. Anyway, graphically, the game's good. The sound is quite good, although it's repetitive because it repeats exactly the same conversation 50-odd times as you keep repeating the level from the start again. So that gets a little bit irritating after a while. I like the concept. It was quite easy to pick up. Nothing's too difficult in terms of flying the plane and firing the weapons. It's quite intuitive. It's just really hard on normal difficulty. But you were on easy difficulty, Giles, weren't you?
I was, yeah. For audio listeners, when James was talking about the difficulty, I was looking pretty damn smug. Although I still found it quite tough, to be honest. I chose easy. There is also a casual easy mode, but below that. And there's another choice, which is what type of controls do you want? And I chose arcade, which seemed kind of more straightforward. There is a kind of more professional, I can't remember what it's called, but a more realistic setting. James, I assume you picked arcade, did you, on difficult? Because if you,
did I?
Well,
what's the difference?
I'd imagine. Well, one of them, I'd imagine you just can't even fly the plane. So I'm going to say you're probably on arcade controls. I still kept getting muddled up. I mentioned when we picked the game last month that I've always struggled a little bit with flying games. They're sort of going up or going down, or pulling the. And I tried inverted y-axis, so pull back to go down. Pull back to go up and push forward to go down instead, all that sort of stuff. Apparently it's about how you think of when you move your head. Is the axis at the back of your head or at the front? Anyway, that's how to describe it to any non-gamers there. But Still getting muddled, but got better over time. I've played only 4 out of the 20 missions, so I'm also amused to hear that 5 was where your your frustration started to kick in. I was still enjoying it up to the end of mission 4. But they were, I thought, already quite long. So again, interesting till it gets longer. For an arcadey sort of game, and it really felt like that. It was sort of arcade little fixes. I would have quite happily had shorter missions, just more of them, and just kind of ducked in and out. I really like the intros and the kind of mission briefings that you get after each. Before each mission, they have a ridiculous sort of Michael Bay movie, Jerry Bruckheimer, Con Air style, slow motion panning and sort of militaristic music. I unironically love the soundtrack. I genuinely think I might listen to it when I'm working because how can you not be pumped up by that? And also I'm playing on headphones, so having the planes whiz by me and everything. So really cool. So the presentation for what is actually quite an old game, isn't it? It's 2019. So, oh my gosh, nearly 7 years old. It's probably 6 or 7 years old. 20% through. It's complete nonsense. Space elevators. The names of the places are sort of. They probably sounded cool when I imagine they were created in Japanese rather than in English. When you translate them, they just sound a bit like the names of the players in Pro Evolution Soccer. It's like Ronaldo and stuff like that, and you just think it sounds. I know they can't use the real names because they don't want to cause trouble. Remember back then when you didn't want to cause an international war. But anyway, it's wildly hoorah. It's really the sort of Michael Bay type stuff, which I really enjoyed that sort of nonsense. But the missions are too long for me. If it was more in between little short bursts, I would have played it more, I think. So, and yes, I haven't got as far as you, and I'm not sure I will, if I'm honest. I think this one might be a leave for me. What did you think overall, Jack?
Yeah, I thought it was exciting. When you're actually in the action, it's quite exciting. Lots of things always happen. Definitely, you can't switch off for a second. There's no downtime in the missions. You're like, go, go, go. Especially this dumb mission I'm on now where there's literally no downtime at all. You've got to get 17,000 points in 15 minutes, and it's just really hard, and people are throwing stuff at you. There's always a missile locked onto you, and you're always trying to evade missiles and chuck strafes out to try and put it off. Nightmares. It really takes your brain power. But yeah, I would like to finish it, but I'm not convinced I'll ever get past this level. And I don't want to start again on easy because that'll be like 7 hours of game time disappeared down the drain.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm kind of in limbo at the moment. I want to carry on, but I don't know if I'm good to carry on. I don't know if I would have been good enough when I was younger and more nimble. And now I'm quite resilient, so I probably won't ever give up. I must have tried that level at least 60, 70 times now. I was just done my nut. 15 minutes a time was probably like days worth of effort for nothing at all. Bloody game. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I can see your score for it plummeting every time you play it, basically. It's gone from quite fun to I just want to, please just let me have my life back as the beard sort of greys out and your fingernails become talons. If you had to, absolutely had to, James, what would you score it?
If I ever get past this level, it'd probably be about an 8.5. If I don't get past this level, it'd probably be a 7.5.
Oh, that's reasonable.
So I think the difficulty level and the lack of save points, particularly in this one mission, is unacceptable in a modern world.
Yeah,
I've got other things to do. I've got a life,
Maybe back then, people they had more time. There certainly were fewer games out there, so maybe people felt more justified taking your time. Yeah, sort of 7.5 for me. Really enjoyed it, but I think it could have been better by just being a slightly different game. And disappointingly, I imagine you didn't get to play it. I mentioned there was a VR setting, and then I forgot. Bloody PlayStation, it's not backwards compatible, is it? So it's the original PlayStation VR. Oh, that would have been fun, although probably quite sick-inducing, I would have thought.
Yeah, I would have just constantly vomited. Would have been like that scene from The Exorcism where the person just rotates with vomit spraying around.
Nice.
That would have been me on a plane. Especially doing this mission 60 times. Would have been knee-deep in vomit in my computer room, but there we go.
That doesn't sound fun. Well, okay, so well worth a play, worth a try. Again, if you listeners, if you bagsied it while it was free on PS Plus, certainly we had some fun with it in the early game and see what you think. But yeah, I think our recommendation is play it on easy, set aside some time for each mission, and put your brain aside a little bit and enjoy some jingoistic nonsense.
And ideally, pad the room out, because if you're going to hold the controller at regular intervals, then it'll probably break. You need more controllers. Interestingly, in the last 2 minutes of being on Do Not Disturb, I've learned that my mum forgot to order one of her medications, and my friend Donna from work went to Crofts today. So there we go.
Oh, gosh.
Shout out to my mum and Donna, neither of who listen to the show. Good evening.
That setting really doesn't seem to work very well. Is your mum's medication situation pressing? Do we need to pause, or are you okay? I don't want to just brazenly carry on when you said that. Yeah. So I've learned on the notifications that so and so. Anyway, that's not.
I've learned on the notification my mum's lying limp in the other room, so I'm just going to carry on.
I'm not going to say that. Yes, that's kind of the principle. I admire your dedication to the pod, James. Thank you very much. So that was the Love It or Leave It for this month. That was the game we've both been playing. We've been playing some other stuff, though, just separately. So do you want to take us through one of the other games, James?
Yeah, the one I'm going to talk about most, because I've not talked about it before, is the new game that's on PS Plus called Neva. It looks like it might be called Never, but when you listen to the game, it constantly uses the word Neva to refer to the wolf character that is cute and white. So you're a lady with fluffy hair. But they've got some candy floss in the hair. It's really fluffy. And she's wearing a cape, some kind of cape. And some similarities to other games like Limbo and Inside and that kind of thing. It's kind of feels a bit dark. And there's some characters that jump out at you that look quite dark and scary and sort of mythical type stuff. But it's a tale of this girl/lady and her wolf. The wolf gets older and bigger as the seasons progress, but the girl doesn't. So it's hard to tell. Yeah, the passing of time is a bit dubious in the game. So apparently you've been friends for a few years with this wolf, because in the new game, the prequel, it takes you back 4 years of where you met the wolf. So this wolf is quite old. So I don't know how it suddenly gets massively bigger in the space of 3 months. Anyway, back to the game. So you go through these levels. It's very much a side scroller. Hannah would love it because there's no in and out and shaking all about. It's just left and right and up and down, which is good. And you basically try and get off the side of the screen, as you normally do on a side scroller. Sometimes you have to have the help of the wolf, and sometimes you don't. And there's loads of platform type stuff. Remember that game we played, thingy with the what's it? It was the Shelby. The one with loads of
Persia?
Yep. That one, there was loads of complex platforming skills in that one. And there's some reasonably complex platforming skills in this one sometimes. There's lots of jumping between walls and jumping between flowers and jumping up things and off things and down things. But there's also a lot of combat thrown in. So you have to kill a lot of things or turn them into trees or flowers or bushes. And that keeps you on your toes. And most of it, you wander around, it's quite pleasant. You meet the occasional enemy and it's quite straightforward. But in certain parts, you get like chase sequences, which are quite tough. And you get a couple of bosses per season, and the boss is really hard. So trying to complete Mission 6 on that flying game and trying to complete this witch boss on Never pretty much finished me off. So I was delighted to say that this afternoon I managed to complete the witch boss on Never, which was the end of the third season of the game. So I'm 3/4 of the way through now. I've just finished Winter. And
nice.
Winter's all quite bleak and foggy and hazy, and you can barely see the characters walking around. There's lots of underground stuff. But overall, great game. Really, really enjoyed it. Really, really good, actually. Really good. Really well made. Everyone says it's really emotional, but I've not cried during it yet. So I'm waiting for the emotion to kick me. But I might be dead inside. Who knows? Been told that many times over the years. But it's a heartfelt, warming tale of a love between a woman and her wolf. And I'm sure at some stage something bad will happen to one of them. I'll cry about it, but at the moment it's not. The wolf disappears now and again and fights other people and then comes back. And you can toss the wolf off, really, in people's faces. So sometimes sometimes to press a button or defeat an enemy, you pick up the wolf and just toss it across the screen.
That's not what I was picturing.
Sure issue, Giles, not mine. So sometimes you toss it at the person's head and it kind of has a little nibble, which then enables you to walk over and whack it around a bit. And sometimes you have to throw out to press a button. And I found that a bit disconcerting at first because it introduces bits as you go by. So at the start, you have a jump button, you have a hit button, and you have a roll and a straight line button. But as the game develops through the seasons, you get extra bits like tossing off a wolf and jumping up and nailing downwards and other bits and pieces. So again, good learning curve. Beautiful game, not graphically unbelievable, but it's a lovely world. You feel really nice in it, and it's quite peaceful, and you can just look at it, and it's actually really pleasant. I think it's quite similar to Planet of Lana, to be fair. So it's kind of a mixture between that one and obviously, is it Greece?
Yeah, I think it's Gris, like the French for grey, I think.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So I think this is a follow-up to Gris, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you played Gris?
No.
They seem to specialise in names that you have to check how to pronounce it. But Gris was very good, and although the name obviously is sort of alluding to the colour grey and lack of colour, a lot of that game is about introducing colour into the world. So that's quite nice. I imagine as you must be approaching spring then if you finished winter.
Yeah. Yes.
So again, having spoken about spring, I take it if it's going in the right order. So yeah, I imagine things will start to come to life as you described they're doing outside, which would be very nice.
Dovetails beautifully, doesn't it? There's also some really good puzzles in it. It's very much a puzzle game. You jump on things in certain orders and try and get to certain places by doing certain things. So that's really good as well. Like I said, some of the bosses are quite difficult, and some of the characters carry around like blocks of stone that fall off of places, and they charge at you with a stone block. So you have to jump over the stone block to get behind the punter to whack him over the head. But then he disappears and comes back on the other side of the stone block and then runs at you again. So you have to jump over him again. And this witch one, if you ever get to the witch one, I can recommend taking some calming medication beforehand because it is very stressful. It's really non-stop action compared to some of the rest of the game. So yeah, very much recommended. Beautiful game. The only unnerving part, you love the PlayStation controller, Giles. I know that from many previous discussions. So whenever you die, which you do fairly frequently, the controller makes an awful gurgling, choking noise at you.
Nice.
So you're like playing it in the middle of the night, which we often do, on quite low volume because the room I'm playing it in is below our bedroom. Yep. So you can only just hear what's going on in the distance, and suddenly you die, and then it's got this really loud, gurgling death sound come out your controller in front of you. So that's really odd. And also, whenever you press triangle to call Neva over, the lady says Neva in a range of perilous or raspy voices, depending on the situation you're in, and that comes out your controller as well. So you get this gurgly death sound, and you get her shouting for a wolf, and the rest of it's nice and quiet. So weird game, really enjoyed it. It's probably like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. It couldn't be any better as a game than that is for the type of game it is.
Okay. I was going to say, it sounds like it could be 1 to 1.5 points better, but I'm a pedant.
I'm not finished yet, so it might race to 10 by next month.
It could do, yeah. And you know that I'm looking forward to playing it because I suggested it as one of the games of the month this month.
Yeah.
I need to find out that you've already started it, and it sounds like you're enjoying it, so good.
Yeah, it's only meant to last about 6 to 7 hours, I think, and I'm probably about 5 hours in, so I'm probably on track.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. You'll enjoy it. Everyone will enjoy it if you have patience and skills.
Oh, I was right up with you until those last two. I'm looking forward to playing it, but I think I have neither of those, so I'll give it a go and see. Good, yeah, and I recommend if Gris is available on a subscription at any point, check it out because I think you'll enjoy that as well. It's very it's a beautiful art style, isn't it? Although it's fairly basic, and the same with Gris. Cool. Well, my choice for this month in terms of the focus is one that we did talk about last month because it was last month's Love It or Leave It. Because I have finished Cyberpunk 2077. I have some thoughts about it. Well, yeah, that's a good point, actually. We might have to call it something else because I didn't love it, but I also didn't leave it. So there might need to be a third category, which is too pig-headed to stop playing it. No, it was a spoiler warning. It was better than that, but not as good as I expected, I suppose, is the summary. But let's backtrack a little before we talk about the game. Yeah. So there's 4 things I think Cyberpunk 2077 was up against it for me. One of those is time. So potentially long games that I play need to be excellent, honestly. So, we talked, haven't we? You might have a game that's a 7 that's 2 or 3 hours, which you kind of think, yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah. That was fine. a 60-hour game that's a 7, you probably think I could have been doing something else with my time.
Yeah.
So up against it for time, and time and opportunity cost is a tricky one. Number 2 is related, and that's competition. And you can tell I thought about this quite a lot.
Yeah.
Why I hadn't really got so much into it, and that's partly because since Cyberpunk came out, or since we chose it rather, since it came out, it was a long time ago, but since we started playing it, and I started playing it in January, the things that have been added to the subscription services include things like Marvel Spider-Man T, Avatar that I mentioned, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2, you've got Star Wars Outlaws, you've got Resident Evil Village, you've got all these games that I really want to play, and I've also got Astrobot sat next to me from Christmas, which I really want to get to. So in a way, it was up against it. The third one is The World is a Bonfire, which we've discussed, so no more said than done. But Cyberpunk and its setting didn't exactly offer me that escape from this grim world. I mean, it's set in a dystopian future run by corporations, corrupt governments, lawlessness, guns, drugs, gangs, self-driving cars, and sexploitation. That's just now. There's a little bit of sci-fi layered on top of it. But the rich are the only ones who get proper healthcare. Looks amazing. But under the surface of it, there's a lot of trouble. And yeah, basically, it's too realistic is my concern. And number 4 was me, which I think we should come back to. They were up against it for me because I tend to get a bit overwhelmed with games that have loads of stats, loads of things you can upgrade, loads of things you can choose between. If I can pick up 600 guns, you can guarantee that I'll just use one gun. If I could pick up 5 guns, I'll choose between those 5 guns. I might even use all of them throughout the playthrough. Yeah. If it's too many, I just kind of shut down. So also prefer really the linear or the sort of wide linear, a little bit of choice to completely open. So reviews are subjective. This is my Cyberpunk rather than anyone else's. So the setting I loved, we talked about last month, visually very striking. I played, there's a ray tracing option, which is 30 frames per second. There's a smoother 60 frames per second performance mode. And I haven't really noticed performance too much. I don't mind playing at 30. But in this, in an open world and with shooting, I did find the difference, and I kept wanting to look at the fancy, lovely ray tracing mode, but then flicking to the performance mode whenever I was driving or running around shooting people. So that was a bit of a shame. It's the first time I've thought maybe we should have a next generation, and then we can't because there's no chips and they're all going to be really expensive. And actually, I can't afford it either. So let's put that to one side. Bleak, cynical world, like I said, so the guns, the violence, the lawlessness, no good people basically thrive in this world. There are some good people, they get absolutely crapped on in the story. That was quite tough to watch. And my main character, V, and I chose a male V. Yeah. He's a cipher, or she's a cipher. I think you're playing as female, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or you were.
I were, yeah.
I were. We're back on it. My V character, there's nothing really to him. I don't know, again, if that's how I played. And I do think that is an important thing, again, to come back to, which I hopefully remember. He's pretty bland. I think it's deliberate that he's quite bland, but also the 3 main stories in the sort of story, the sort of main quest, none of them hugely engaged with me. V was a little bit of a part of what it was trying to do was sort of save myself as a character, and that felt, compared to saving the world or saving your village from destruction, felt a bit so the corporate skullduggery was quite fun. I like that bit. And then there's a whole section involving a character called Johnny Silverhand, who's played by Keanu Reeves, who was fine, but he was also a bit of a dick. So not super engaging in that sense. However, good stuff, because I do sound like I'm moaning. Yeah. But there were some really good side missions. There was a couple of awful ones involving basically going and finding robo taxis. But the rest of it was really quite engaging. And I think that's basically, if you play it like that, if you're not playing through the main story for 25 hours, which we're going to say is relatively short for this sort of game, weirdly, but it's still a decent investment. But if you if you want to play Cyberpunk, I think you've got to play kind of 60 hours, go and explore all the a number of side quests, really dig around, really immerse yourself in that world, really get into the idea of speccing your character and all that stuff. I can completely see that that's a fun game. But for me, it was, as a sort of fairly linear, mostly shooter experience, there had some real highs, some blockbuster set pieces. Don't know how far you've got, James. Have you played at all since the first month? Okay. So there's a really good set piece just beyond where I think you are. There's a couple more quite soon after that, and then there's a few scattered throughout the main quest. When it hits those, it feels like a really good first-person shooter with kind of the sort of production values of one of the big linear games, and that's great. But when you're outside of that, I just found that I wasn't engaging too much. I thought critically, I realised I'd essentially been playing it wrong. When you get to the end, and I won't spoil anything, but you get towards the end, and you have a sort of point of no return, and the game basically says to you, do you want to call any of the people you've kind of interacted with? Because you quite often get phone calls through your in-world mobile. And I did, and I didn't really have anyone to call because there were a couple of characters that I'd sort of started side quests, started kind of going down a path with various different people, but I hadn't finished any of them. And so we didn't really have that story to tell. So that was a real shame. So I'd be able to call them, but not really have much to say to each other. And then in the end credits, you get some calls from various characters, including people who I didn't have the opportunity to ring. And their stories in those end credits were much more engaging than anything I played. So it's an odd one for me. I've probably been quite negative in the review, but it looked fantastic. I enjoyed the moment-to-moment stuff. You said last month, James, I think you were struggling to get a decent chunk of time to play it. And I think that is, you need to play it in chunks. And I played some chunks where I really got into it, really enjoyed it. But what it didn't do was drag me back to play another chunk the next day. And that said, I completed it, so it must have had something on me. I think it was a 7.5 as well. And that's because the highs were really high, and I enjoyed playing it through as a game. I enjoyed the gameplay experience, but I just didn't connect with it. And my expectations for this game were really high. So I think that's partly why I was disappointed, and probably why I spent most of the review complaining.
Flagging it off, yeah.
Yeah.
But 25 hours in the end, yeah?
About 25 hours. That probably includes 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 sort of side missions. It's hours playing side missions. So you kind of get factions. People sort of call you up with a job. You're a mercenary. I should have said about the game, really, but we did talk about it last month.
Yeah.
You're a mercenary, and you kind of witness something goes wrong early on, and so you are being called upon by all kinds of people, some kind of fairly nefarious corpo type people, some people who you've just interacted with who could do with a favour, some people who've been recommended your services, and some people who you seek out for help with one of your stories. And some of those, the characters are kind of interesting, and if you go down the route with them, you can kind of see their quest to the end. I think that would probably be quite interesting, but I kept wanting to get back to the main story, which turned out was probably a mistake.
Yeah. Next time. It's only 25 hours, isn't it?
Indeed.
It's only just over a solid day of wasted time.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm going to...
Lift us up, James. Lift us up.
I played two... I guess I played 2 more couple things, but that's not anywhere near a language. So I played a couple more things, but I talked about them both previously, so I'm only going to scoot past them again. So one of the reasons I didn't get back into Cyberpunk is because I was so obsessed with dealing drugs in Schedule 1. But, I talked about it last month. It was a really fun game. You basically set up take over your uncle's drug growing and producing and distributing company. Start off very small in a little room, and then you move on to a little RV, and then you rent out spaces in a hotel and other places. So you can grow your cannabis and then meth and then other bits and pieces, and then coke eventually is the last one at the moment up the tree. And Fortunately, before I started playing it, they introduced the cartel expansion pack to it, which is part of the game. So that was probably the most interesting part. Because there's a rival cartel called the Benzes, who you're sort of competing against for their clients, and there's lots of Benzes related graffiti across the walls, which you can put your own graffiti up to ruin their street cred. And you can delete their graffiti from the walls using your graffiti deletion spray, and you can kill some of their dealers and take some of their clients off them that they've already got. And that reduces the influence of the other cartel in the area. So gradually you can take over the areas. And the idea of the game is, for the cartel part, you eventually wipe them out. So there's like 6 different areas of this town that you can take over. Each have got their own range of would-be clients. Each has got one dealer and each has got one supplier. And so each region supplies something different. So one would supply like magic mushrooms and one would supply cannabis seeds and that kind of jazz. So eventually you're meant to wipe out this other family of baddies, and eventually you can blow up their mansion house where they've been doing their operation from. And then eventually, if you get enough money from all your dealing adventures, you can then buy the manor house and set up your own operation in there. So there is no end to the game. You could play it forever if you wanted to, by keep making more and more money and selling more and more stuff and doing more and more things. But once you've defeated the other cartel, I've bought the mansion house now, so I managed to save up enough money for my efforts. So I've got the mansion house. I've set up my own operation in there. And that felt like a natural end to the game because there's nothing more I needed to do. There's no more challenge in it because there's no one to defeat or kill or beat. It was just sort of making more and more money, which I've got no massive time for. So I probably invested 20 odd hours into it. Probably could have completed Cyberpunk in that time, but there we go. Yeah. But as it was, I set up a drug dealing empire and defeated the cartel. So it's quite a big achievement, I thought. Again, like I said before, the graphics aren't amazing. There is no sound as such, but the gameplay is really fun. Annoyingly, though, on the PC, it stutters after a while. There's lots of rubbish everywhere that you can put into canisters to make money, like metal cans and stuff. You can put into a little metal recycling machine to make a few dollars for no obvious reason, because you're only really skinned at the start, and after that, you've got so much money, it doesn't really matter. But the more rubbish, apparently, on the screen, the more the game lags. So you'd be driving a car and it'll like stutter along. It's really annoying because my PC is fairly powerful these days and it still stutters along. So that annoyed me. But apart from that, the gameplay was good. The plot was good. It was fun. Obviously, it's not meant to be a realistic simulation of growing and selling drugs. Obviously, that's all very bad. I'm very much against what I'm into. But it's just good fun setting up a business, running it, defeating another rival company, and setting up an empire, which I quite liked, regardless of the content. So yeah, now I've completed it-ish. Again, probably an 8.5, but yeah, really good. There's going to be some more DLCs coming soon. They're going to make it multiplayer, which will be fun as well. So you can set up a company together and do other things. And there'll be other venues and locations. You can see like blocked off bridges, so they're going to open up those areas to make new areas you can expand into. So that'll be quite fun. So I'll probably come back to it in a few months' time when I've got some more DLCs. But for now, I'm done. Schedule 7, good game, recommended, unless you hate drugs and or are under 16, 18, whatever the age is for distributing drugs.
Or both. I don't think there's any age where you're allowed to do that, but in terms of playing the game, maybe it's a rating that you need to get by. I've got 2 that I've been playing that I also haven't finished. Sorry, you finished that one, haven't you? You picked it up, but I've got a couple that I haven't finished. So I spent most of my time on Cyberpunk this month. The other 2 have been playing Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, which is on both Xbox Game Pass and PS Plus. That is also, it's an action RPG. But I don't quite know why I decided to start it after Cyberpunk. I've been sort of looking at it for a while. It's set more it's in the 1600s, I think, where you go to New Eden, but I think it is America. Certainly feels very sort of America in that sort of period. And you're called over, you're banishers, so there's 2 characters. They are a couple, and you're called over by a sort of old friend to. Banishers are there to get rid of old ghosts, essentially, and old spirits that are sort of stuck in limbo, and they're not necessarily, doing bad stuff. They're just kind of stuck. So the Banishers are there to kind of free them and kind of also get them to move on from the humans who are around. So some kind of curse or bad stuff happening in that world. You arrive. It looks very good. It's a fairly small budget game in relative terms. It's by Don't Nod, who did all the Life is Strange games. They did Vampire, which I really enjoyed. And they have a game coming out quite soon on Game Pass called Aphelion, which looks really good on a planet somewhere. Again, with a man and woman, they seem to like that kind of dynamic. And I'm just really enjoying it. It's early days. Probably only played about 4 hours of the game, but I didn't expect to play that much. It's really spooky. It's got a lovely kind of almost Tim Burton-esque mood there. So it's just got that sort of weird, off-kilter, ghostly, lots of fog around, that sort of atmosphere. Antia and Red are the two partners. They're really engaging characters, and the reason why I thought it was interesting, I don't know what drew me to it, but very quickly I've connected much more with them as sort of set, defined characters than with V from Cyberpunk, so running a bit of a contrast. It's that kind of American Gothic, but it's also kind of actually mature themes, so not just kind of sex and violence, but love, loss, grief, when to let go, all that stuff. And there are you make some moral choices even early on in the game about what you're going to do with these ghosts and characters that need to move on. So excellent pre-credits. That's really what hooked me. I thought I'd give it a try. I didn't think I'd start playing another big game. I think it's about another 20-hour. But so far, combat's a bit God of War-like. So it's that sort of action game, but it is RPG. But without all the, you have to make a table from some logs and some string, and you have to go around and gather all that stuff. You don't have 100 guns again to pick up. You don't really have guns. There's some magic involved, but you've got a relatively small skill tree to have to sort of expand. Really enjoying it, essentially. So I'll update properly, I'm sure, in a future month, but I'm sure I'll keep playing that one.
Cool.
Any more from you, James?
Yeah, last one is Split Fiction. Talked about that before. Me and Joshua were playing it together. Had it for a while, but only got into it over Christmas time. We had another good go for a day the other day. Played a few hours together. Still awesome. You won't find a better game than Split Fiction of any genre. It is amazing. The creativity, the puzzles, the graphics, the voice acting, the storyline. It's just awesome. Such a good game. So me and Joshua had a really good time with that one. Got quite a way in it. And again, it's a game that's really fast paced. It goes between sci-fi and sort of what the other one called fantasy.
Fantasy.
Yeah, so you change costumes quite a lot. You go on little side quests. So as a reminder, you've come to a company to sell your book idea to a publisher, but they stick you inside a machine, which is meant to take your idea from you and project it. So you can actually see your idea in real life rather than just on pages, which sounds a cool concept. But obviously the company are trying to steal people's ideas so they can then sell them all off without giving any credit to the person. So when your character, it's called Neo. Is she called Neo? Mia? Dave? Something like that. She gets cold feet at the end and tries to escape, falls into a machine with the other character in it. And therefore their two fiction ideas are split and joined together. So that's why they go between fantasy and sci-fi in split fiction format. So they're trying to escape. They're trying to break the machine so they can get back out of it. The inventor, company person wants to keep them in the machine and stop them from getting back out. It's kind of a battle between them and him. So these little side quests are ways of taking your memories away from the machine to hold on to them in some way. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Obviously, it's not real. It's a computer game. But there's lots of fun, lots of action, lots of adventure. And it's non-stop action as well. You don't wander around at all. It's just non-stop, one thing to the next thing. Lots of platforming bits, lots of jumping up things and down things, lots of puzzle solving. You can only do things working together as a team, which is obviously what these card games are all about. So really good fun to do it with your nearest and dearest next to you. So yeah, like I said, I've covered it all before. Not finished it yet, so I'll talk about it again in the future when we can next be asked to do it together. But for now, it's at least a 9 out of 10. It's a superb game if you've not played it. Find a friend, find a family member, get someone off the street, whoever, just play the game. It's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, James started the year. You started the year, didn't you, with a pretty good run of very high scoring games, and this was one of them. So,
yeah.
I'm waiting. I mean, it should be hitting Game Pass, I'd imagine, fairly soon, because it's an EA game, so it'll come through EA Play.
Yeah.
So Game Pass Ultimate, or just through EA. It usually comes about a year after launch, and I think it's about a year and a bit old now. So
Yeah.
certainly, I would imagine by the summer at the very latest, it should be added to the service. And if I can convince Hannah to brave the messy controls or messy cameras, that one might be really good fun, because we did enjoy what we played of as what's it called? It Takes Two. We just didn't get very far, unfortunately, as regular listeners will know.
Yeah, this one's a lot harder and a lot fast.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. In which case, maybe not.
Find another friend.
That's it. I mean, unless you want to play, you've already played it. It's just you and Hannah. I don't speak to anyone else. And all the lovely listeners, obviously.
Yeah,
well, the thing we have been playing together, that's great, Hannah and I, is Rise of the Golden Idol.
Yeah.
So the rare example of a game that I've actually paid money with. Well, actually, I don't think I'd paid money for it. I think I used sort of 3 points to get it. But but nearly, it's not on a subscription service, but we really enjoyed Curse of the Golden Idol, which was the first game, which was kind of pixelated style, these sort of static tableaus of something just after an accident or a murder or something had happened, and you had to kind of poke around the screen, a bit of a sort of like an old point and click adventure, the LucasArts games, things like that, but just poking at bits of the scenery to kind of reveal words, and then you use those words to describe what's happened, solve the mystery, I guess, of what's in front of you. That was set back in the past, days of yore, the olden days of some description, based around this idol which was allegedly cursed. But this is much more, much better looking. It's a different style. It's a bit more colourful, but it's also set in the 70s, so 1970s. So that was, previous one was, ranged all the way from, I think, like conquistador type stuff, through to still horse and cart world. This is, almost the modern world. We're playing on Xbox, also on Steam, PlayStation, Switch. It's on everything, and it's not graphic. It's not demanding of the system. It's not demanding of your reflexes. But we've really enjoyed it. It's basically solving a puzzle together. There's no time sort of pressure on it. The one thing that I would say, this game versus the previous one, is much more complex. So in Rise of the Golden Idol, in Curse of the Golden Idol, the first one. Thank you. The sort of scenes were quite separate until later on, where you sort of appreciated that you could connect things through them and kind of have to go backwards and forwards a bit. This, from fairly early on, the scenarios are connected, and so they're a bit longer to play, so probably sort of half an hour to an hour to solve a scene at the moment, and I think we're about a third of the way through. So really enjoying it. Lots more to play. It's exactly the sort of kind of couch experience that you can just kind of sit there on the sofa, solve it together, feel a little bit clever when something does click, feel a little bit stupid when it doesn't quite come to pass. There was one scenario where there's a jailbreak, and you've kind of got inside the jail, you've got people outside the jail, you've got some evidence of how the person got out, and an office, and there were some clues like right in front of our nose that we completely missed. So enjoying that one. Again, give an update once we've played more. That's it from us this month.
Yeah, that's all the games we played. Happy days. So what about our choice for Game of the Month / love it or list it / love it, list it or tolerate it?
Love it, list it, or stick with it because you're stubborn. Yeah. Well, we talked about Planet of Lana 2. You mentioned it could be a bit similar to Neva. Was it Neva? Never. Neva. Yeah. If I hear it screamed at me over and over again, I'll remember. So I'll play the role of a wolf. So Planet of Lana 2 releases on Game Pass. Well, today, if you're listening, as we launch, or actually thinking about it, yesterday. Today as we record. I played and loved the first game. We both, I think, really enjoyed games like Inside and Limbo. Planet of Lana is very much in that genre in terms of it being a combat-free, so different to Neva, puzzle action platformer. And it's a beautiful world in Planet of Lana. It starts off, the first game certainly starts off with a sort of a child in a village. It's all a beautiful, calm scene, and then these huge robot aliens arrive and cause havoc with the planet. So the first game explores that and trying to sort of fight back against these invaders. The second game apparently gives you a nice refresher if you've not played the first by the time you start, which is good. But it's a much more colourful world, so it doesn't share the sort of the tone of Limbo and Inside, but has very good reviews. I don't know if you saw it. The reviews have been out in the last couple of days.
Yeah, really good.
Apparently, people can jump straight in if they haven't played the first game, which is good because I don't think you have. Is that right?
No, nowhere near it yet. You got a four-legged friend in it as well?
You do, yes. You have a character who I think is called Mew, or Miu, maybe, M-I-U or M-U-I, Mui, maybe, who is a sort of alien cat-type character who has, in the first game, certainly the ability to kind of hypnotise other creatures, which is quite fun, and then you can kind of manipulate them. But yeah, a lot of it is about sort of sending off one of you to go and solve something that the other one wouldn't be able to. So in a way, a bit like a cooperative platform, I think it's still only one player. Really looking forward to this one, and thank you for allowing me to choose this one after Neva was already taken, which is good. So looking forward to it.
How long is it, do you know?
Well, that's the other good news. Apparently it's twice the length of the first game, which made me a bit sad to read. And I was like, oh, I quite like... Turned out the first game was actually really much shorter than I remember. So 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
For the second.
That's good. Perfect. Might get finished in a month.
Done. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I can finish Neva and then move on to Planet of Lana. Excellent.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Yeah, like I said, the reviews are good. You raved on about the first one, didn't you? But I never got around to it, so looking forward to it. So yeah, anyone out there who wants to give it a go, it's on Xbox Game Pass from yesterday when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it on day one. And yeah, day one release, which is always good for Xbox, despite the horrendous amount of money we pay on subscriptions. So take advantage of it. If you've got the subscription, give it a go and let us know what you think on any of our socials or on email, or just shout it really loudly and one of us will hear.
Exactly. Yes. Like shouting out Neva, just shout Aches and Games and then whatever you want to say and it'll come to us. Yes. Right, lots of stuff going on this month. We've had a few streams. So Xbox Developer Direct was in January, wasn't it?
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we, last time?
We did last time. In February, we had 3. We had 2 Nintendo ones and a State of Play. Anything that sort of took your fancy from those?
I don't really watch Nintendo stuff because I don't really play the Switch, to be honest. It's more, it just sort of sits there. But the State of Play, I always enjoy State of Plays because I'm a PlayStation boy, and that's the one that's sitting next to me at the moment that I've been playing all my games on recently. So I'm glad we've got a good run of PlayStation games coming up. And there's some good things on it. When they're Pragmata, they talked about it for a long time now, and that still looks interesting. It's like a little girl that rides around on a robot, being attacked by other robots and stuff in a futuristic type world. So that looks interesting. Be weird to see what it's actually like, gameplay-wise, and how you incorporate, how it feels like to play a small girl. Obviously, we play a lot of game where you play like 15, 16-year-old girls in adventures, like that rat game, whatever that's called, Plague Tale. And obviously Ellie and The Last of Us, they were always between 12 and 15. But this girl's even younger, so it'd be interesting to see how you convert your middle-aged man mindset into a young girl character. So that'd be interesting. Looking forward to playing that one, if it becomes free at some stage in the future. Probably won't, but we shall see. That's coming out in April, so that's nearly here. I mentioned Neva already, but the prologue came out a couple of weeks ago as well. That was mentioned on the State of Play as well. So that's take you back 4 years and more of the same. So when I finish Neva, I can get the prologue. It's only like £2.69, I think. I've seen it advertised as a DLC on the actual game itself. And I wanted to flag, you're a big fan of God of War, weren't you? We talked about that a while ago.
I quite liked, I played the original trilogy, quite enjoyed those. They were a bit more like Devil May Cry action-y, weren't they? I quite liked the the first of the reboots. I did not click with Ragnarok, as I've ranted about that enough in the past. Cyberpunk is my new one, but no, it was I didn't finish it because I was so annoyed with God.
There's a few God of War related things on State of Play.
Yes.
But one of them was interesting. The one I wanted to talk about was the God of War Sons of Sparta, which is a bizarre 2D side scroller. Your Kratos, who's the father figure, but looking back in the past when he was a lot younger. But they still managed to drag it out for over 20 hours. So I was assuming it's going to be like 4 or 5 hours as a side scroller, but it's 20 plus hours. Reviews have been bang average, sort of 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. So I might give it a go one day. It's meant to be okay, but not amazing. But it sets an interesting backstory. But having never played any of the God of War games myself, unlike Giles, who loves them all, then it'd be interesting to see if I ever get around to playing that one. But fascinating, and Giles is going to talk about Silent Hill and John Wick and all the other stuff, so crack on.
Yeah, thanks, James. There were 2 games one in each of the Nintendo streams that I like the look of, but again, that wasn't to play them on Switch, that was because they're coming to Game Pass. So one of them was Planet of Lana 2, which was the most recent sort of trailer, which just whet my appetite. But the other one was for a game that isn't out for a little while called Mixtape. A Mixtape to me looks... it's what I was, I think, hoping for from Lost Records. It's got that sort of 80s nostalgia vibe. Did you watch the trailer?
I think I got confused because we talked about Mixtape ages ago, and when that Blooming Rage came out, I thought that was what Mixtape was, but it wasn't. So I'm glad the Mixtape is still coming because that looked really good.
It is, and it's by the people who made The Artful Escape, which I quite enjoyed. What I would say to anyone who's looking forward to it or enjoyed the trailer, their games, they're not the most gamey games. They're not hugely interactive, so I wouldn't expect much gameplay in there, although maybe they've sort of expanded on that. But in terms of the story, what it looks like, the atmosphere, and they're never long. I think they're called Beethoven and Dinosaur, or Dinosaur and Beethoven is the developer, which, if you're looking for a sort of Google search friendly name, I'd imagine. Well, it's unique, isn't it? Which I guess is the point. Unless people are searching for a strange combination of Yodi music and Yodi animal. So yes, those are the ones that I thought of from that stream. And like you said, on State of Play, Silent Hill Townfall, you really enjoyed Silent Hill 2, is that fair to say?
Loved it, but I haven't got around to playing Silent Hill F yet, have I? But I got it for Christmas, so it's in my pile.
I thought you did, yeah. I was trying to remember what you got for Christmas. And this is a new Silent Hill set in Scotland, weirdly enough. And Silent Hill F was in Japan, and Silent Hill traditionally has been in the States.
Silent Hill.
Say. Yes, so they've gone international. It's another new developer. It's another seemingly different take on the game and the world. So that would be quite interesting. It looked really good. And the last game, very Scottish game I played was Still Wakes the Deep. Thank you. So looking forward to that. And then there was a trailer for John Wick game. Having got quite annoyed with Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk. I think John Wick is probably more my sort of pace. So I'm looking forward to that. It looked really fun, and I think that's coming to all platforms as well. So lots to look forward to, as always. Never short of things to play.
Add to the pile. I haven't touched the Christmas pile yet. I've got the 5 Christmas pile games, and not only one of my Christmas pile games is now coming out on Game Pass, which is slightly irritating.
That is annoying, isn't it? Yeah. Just before we get to those, there's a couple of other things I don't think we've had time to really cover, but we should acknowledge massive changes at Xbox. Phil Spencer's retired. And Sarah Bond, who was kind of lined up to be his replacement, also kind of got the beat, or is moved on. I imagine she just didn't get the gig and probably decided that, well, there's no point sort of sticking around, which is fair enough. Asha Sharma is the new head of Xbox. She's from the Core AI team, which should make various people shudder. But her sort of early interviews, her early statements have been very encouraging, but they would be, wouldn't they? So let's see where that goes. But it does mean, I think the stuff I've seen that I think is interesting about it is it does sort of mean that all bets are off in terms of statements that the team have made, what's going to happen to Game Pass, what's going to happen with the next generation, which is quite a radical change for Xbox. And we've seen, I think, possibly not related to the change, I'm sure, but PlayStation sort of pulling back from PC games and just being PlayStation exclusive in the last week. There's good reporting from Jason Schreier about that. If the Xbox is going to be effectively a PC, that was always a question. Would I be able to play those games effectively on my Xbox? So just lots of upheaval. Any sort of observations, James, on that?
No, I was going to say it's disappointing that it's going to be the last time we can mention Phil Spencer and love it or leave it in the same episode. But the new person mentioned that she wanted to focus on Xbox as a console, didn't she? Which felt like it's secured the future of Xbox. I bet she still mentioned it being available in lots of formats, but said that the core of it is on Xbox and good quality games and not bleeding IPs dry and having new creative ideas. It's all sounded really good, but whether it turns into a money fest, who knows? But good luck to it.
Knows. And slightly linked to that, it's worth mentioning, we did sort of allude to it earlier, suggestions that any next-gen consoles from PlayStation or Xbox, or indeed the Steam machine that's already been announced but sort of disappeared, it feels like there's not going to be any new hardware coming out or any affordable hardware for a very long time. Every piece of RAM in the world is being taken by AI, essentially.
Yes, and the global war is probably not going to help much either, because probably it's going to be made out of petrochemicals like incontinence pads. So.
You're going to have to choose. You can have a new games console or a lifetime supply of incontinence pads. It's only one of the two, unfortunately.
Indeed.
Excellent.
So, I only kind of wish I got a PS5 Pro now at some stage when they were more affordable, because obviously probably not going to upgrade at all now for the next 5 years until it's all settled down again. So. There we go. And the PlayStation 5 is still a really good console, and the Xbox Series X is still really good as well. And my PC's fine as well, so I can't moan too much. It's all good.
Indeed, we're very grateful. I think both for our sort of lot in life. In some ways, we're both pretty comfortable. There are lots of people who'd be quite happy with having the choice between different consoles. We don't need new ones. Okay, lots of stuff been added this month as well. You mentioned Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, James. There's a couple of other things you want to talk about.
Yeah, obviously Spider-Man 2 is on thingy, isn't it? It's on PS Plus, is it?
PS Plus Extra, I think. So, that's gone on the list before it gets taken off again.
EAF 125 was really well reviewed for a motor racing game. So I haven't played a motor racing game for a long time. Apart from the management game, this is more obviously driving. But you can manage as well and drive at the same time, so that sounds quite fun. So I'll probably give that a poke. Construction Simulator I played with Joshua a few years ago, but now it's on something. Game Pass, probably. Makes more sense to be on Game Pass, it's got to be in it. So that one you can build things and do missions and campaigns and stuff by renting lots of high-powered machines and plant to do things, so that sounds kind of fun. And weird game, Season A Letter to the Future. I'm not sure if I'm going to like that or not. There's a bloke on a bike sitting on the front. And you go around making memories, and then they all get wiped out by some kind of life event or Earth event, and then you're kind of trying to rebuild them, I think. But that's really good reviews as well. It's got like 9 out of 10 on Steam, and everywhere else has been really highly reviewed, so I might pick it up. It looks quite short. I said in the notes it could be fairly boring or it could be quite good. But
I just read that note word for word as you were talking, and that isn't quite what you said, but that's the gist of it, and I think that's fair. But sometimes you need to take a punt on these things, don't you? Especially like you said, if it's short and not too pricey. I'm excited by Spidey and Planet Lana. I do have some Microsoft credit burning a pocket in my hole. I think.
What?
No. That's getting clipped. Yeah. Oh my word. I genuinely read that because it says "hole in my pocket" on my notes, and I looked at it and thought that's the wrong way around.
Yeah. You don't want a pocket in your hole.
No. I need to see someone about
that. Incontinence pad, I recommend.
That should help, yeah. We've gone off the rails. So Crimson Desert, not Crimson Dessert, is coming this month. If it wasn't so big, I'd be tempted by that, because that's a kind of Witcher style, seemingly throwing every possible idea at a sort of action RPG, flying around in a fantasy world. There's, I think, dragons and technology and all kinds. Basically, it's split fiction, just one fiction, everything thrown together, no regard for continuity or sort of logic. that looks kind of fun. It looks spectacular. But the mouse PI is the one that I've really got my eye on and might actually spend some credits on, which is a kind of black and white first-person shooter in a sort of old school, old-timey animated style. So I've forgotten what they call it, but it's like a form of animation where everyone looks like they're sort of bouncing a little bit. It's like sort of rubbery. If you look at old cartoons, particularly black and white cartoons, it's that.
The original Disney stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and it looks really good. It's been on my list for a while. I think it was featured on an Xbox stream a while ago. Just finally, Cyberpunk. If my review sold it to you, if you've got Game Pass Premium, it's just been added. It's also on Extra, which is sort of the equivalent on PlayStation, which is where we all played it. But yeah, lots going on.
Yeah, you like mouse-based games, don't you? After your mouse game. What was the other mouse game you played?
What was the last mouse game I played? I played an egg-based game. I remember that.
The VR one.
Oh yeah, Moss. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is a mouse-based game.
Yeah.
Now you mention it. Yeah, quite different, but
it's not mouse.
It's true, and I will no doubt play some more. Epic Mickey, I think, is on one of the subscriptions, which I quite fancy the look of. Now you mention it, I do have a thing for mice.
Yeah, I know. Just wanted to pat us on the back as well for only limiting the episode to about an hour and a half instead of 2 hours. So we did well, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say we came in just under it, but then we talked about how we wouldn't come in under it, and now we're going to go over it. So that's the show. Please remember to, as James adjusts his camera and things start falling apart, please remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. It's much too low now, James. I've just got mostly your chest. There we go. No, still do. If you're watching on video, you'll get to enjoy this. Please like and subscribe to the podcast. Consider giving us a 5-star review. Please. Why not pop over to our please. We're doing the X Factor begging, pretending to phone up. Usual stuff. I'm Giles Nicholson, Giles West. How about you, James?
Yeah, I'm just James. So thank you for listening. Have a great month. Ideally, we'll smash the YouTube record again for the number of views. So if we do post some clips, which I'm sure we always do, we post the whole episode and some clips. Please do watch them because they're great fun. And we're quite attractive middle-aged men, considering our limited looks. So please do check us out with our mouths being open and words coming out. It's great fun to see. I'm enjoying it every week. Enjoy.
I look forward to the comments on that one. See you next month. First Friday of the month.
Take care, everyone. Bye.